lecture. And this week lecture will be about disorders of thoughts. Another sphere of functioning of the psychic, it's a thinking, very important sphere, obviously, for our functional activity, and we will discuss what can be broken over here. And let me show you the PPT. That's not a beginning. Let's go to the beginning. Disorders of thoughts. Sometimes we call it as disorders of thinking. Wait a second. I didn't ask you. Did you hear me well? How is the sound?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Clear.
Good. Okay.
Yes,
Sir, everything good, sir.
Then we will continue. And here you can see the types of the disorder of thoughts. I hope we will have enough time to pass through all these topics. And it includes disorders of intelligence. That's about how smart people are, even in plain words. Disorders of stream of thoughts. So that's about a tempo, actually. That's about how fast, how slow. That's about that. They can be faster, they can be slower. Disorders of possession of thoughts. Well, that's a bit new things maybe for you, and it may be difficult to understand. So that's about how do person perceive his thoughts. Is it his own, or he believes or he feels that somebody else put into thoughts or ideas into his head. Disorders of, well, obsessions and compulsions, that's separate thing. That's I hope you do feel what is that just from the beginning, from the name of that. And disorders of content and form of thinking, that's a bit more difficult. So let's go further. So definition, disorders of intelligence. Well, first of all, before we start again, move to the pathology, what is intelligence? There can be number of approaches over here, number of way how to understand this term, intelligence. Here you have two definitions: ability to think rationally and logically, one, and the second is cortex. It's a ability to solve problem by using words, numbers, symbols, mathematical knowledges, by using some calculation, analysis, etc. So both of them are suitable to understand. What about that? If we very will be simple here, it's about how smart person is. If he's very smart, the more he's smart, then higher his intelligence level is. Learning disability. That's a subdivision of disorders of intelligence. I will tell you from the beginning, we have two types. Actually, here only two. It's a learning disability and dementia. We'll talk later what is the difference between all them, but here is the learning disability or intellectual disability. Recently, a long time ago, it has another name. It had another name, oligophrenia. But now we don't use it because of the stigmatizing meaning of this term, so it became offensive. That's why we don't use it, and it was changed for learning disability or intellectual disability. So here you see the key points. The learning disability is observed from the birth, just from the beginning of life. Unfortunately, a person somehow, due to different reasons, and most of them, not most of them, and each of them actually leads to the damage of the brain or malformation of the brain tissue. So something is broken in his brain tissue, something is wrong anatomically there, and it leads to the low intelligence. As you see, it's from the birth, or it can be acquired in the first years of life. So a child somehow get damage of the brain, for example, from encephalitis or trauma. The symptoms of that, of a learning disability, well, it's a low ability to learn in school, low ability to acquire new knowledges, low ability to solve the problem, to complete the task, especially the new task, the task which involve some operation with the thinking or creativity, operation which require to adopt new knowledges and understand new knowledges. So most problems over here, especially in a low form, it's a lack of abstract thinking. Abstract thinking means something opposite to the concrete thinking or exact thinking. Well, exact thinking means that if I see computer in front of me, so I call it computer. But if I ask a person who lacks abstract thinking, what is lecture? Give me the definition of lecture. That will be a big problems with this guy. He cannot give a definition of lecture, like it's a type of educational element of educational process which includes flow of information from the lecturer to the students in order to prepare them for the practical classes or something like that. It's very difficult for them to give the definition. Or if you ask them, what is democracy? Give me the definition of the democracy. To create the definition of, or to acquire the definition of democracy, you need abstract thinking, because democracy, it's something not exact. It's not an object. It's imaginary construction which you need to understand only if you're capable to understand a lot of other imaginary things like society, like justice. So a lot of things. Abstract term from Greek means detached, means something which can be higher than the above surface. So for example, abstract thinking means you see the chair, it's a concrete object. Then you see the table, it's also exact object. Then you see the, I don't know, wardrobe. It's also very particular and visible object. But furniture, it's something that you cannot see, that you cannot indicate with your finger. You cannot touch word furniture. It's a conclusion from all these three terms. So if a person is capable to form this definition, means he got abstract thinking, abstraction, in other words. So that's the main problems of them, main, but not the only. And it is main problem for person with a mild form of learning disability. Here you can see the subtypes, subdivisions of learning disability. I got some those who late, they ask me to enter to the lecture, so it distracts a bit. So borderline learning disability, it's 70, 90 points, mild, moderate, you see points, you know what it is. But what is these numbers? What are they about? It's a general score of IQ quotient of the person. So each of us, if we wish, we can make some tests, special tests. They are standardized. That means we got a special standards, and each standards gives you, each of these tests will give you the number of your intelligence quotients. And well, below 70, the learning disability begins. 70, 90, it's a borderline level. Actually, a lot of people in the population has these borderline number of borderline IQ score. A lot of them. So how does it look like? Standardized test for the intelligence. Well, for example, if I sit with you and I will give you questions that actually, as I think, each person have to know. And sometimes you can fail you for these questions. Well, for example, I don't know, what was the main event of World War II? This is a very culturally dependent question, because for me, maybe it's a Stalingrad battle. For American citizens, it can be normal, the operation in Normandy, so-called. But and the answer, what is the correct answer? So in order to avoid involvement of the education to the general score, for example, if you in a good school, you can give a good answers, and that don't means your high intelligence level. That means that you was learned well before to pass the test. So in order to exclude the involvement of the culture, education, families, social things, we have to create a test which help us just to determine the level of intelligence. And this test usually looks like this. That's an example of intelligence test. We give a person pictures, just the pictures, and these pictures include some patterns which he have to or she have to find. And then he have to, usually first step is to find them, and easy tests is only to find them and to apply these patterns. Second level, it's you have to apply 2 patterns, then 3 patterns, maximum usually 4 patterns. It's a very complicated text. It's a very complicated pictures. Here you see that's the and the very simple instructions, like look at the picture. One piece of the picture is missing. So look below, which piece of the paper is about which piece of the picture, which number you think is suitable over here. As you see, second one is most suitable because, so let me the pattern. Let me show you what is the pattern. So this one here is the first pattern. Then one figure is combined with another figure, and we got second again combination. And here we just take these 2 symbols, we combine them together, and we go to number 2. No education is necessary to find the answer for this question. So this is a so-called biological intelligence test. It measures biological intelligence. or biological intelligence. So your ability to the mathematics, physics, to study difficult things depends on this level of your intelligence. But there is another type of intelligence, and actually some scientists believe that it has a right to exist, but some scientists believe that this term is artificial and is useless and not proven, not in in reality, it has no any substances, it has no any basis, but okay, I want you to know this. Another type of intelligence, it's emotional intelligence. We have biological, that's about mathematics, and emotional intelligence. A high emotional intelligence means that the people with high emotional intelligence, these people usually very successful people, because they are capable to read other people's emotions, to understand other people's emotions, to feel them. And they also capable to understand their own emotions. And then by combining these two things, they know what to do with other people. They know how to achieve agreement. They know how to do that. Okay, so people with high intelligence will always find something in common with other people, will always find the way how to persuade other persons to do what they need to do. They always find a deal. So that's why they are effective. These people can be very poor in school. I mean, the level of score, general score, the marks, but they really effective in the society. So that's about intelligence, low intelligence and high, low intelligence and wait a second, I will turn on some remindings. Here. Another type of disorders of intelligence, second type, actually, two of them, it's a dementia. It's a low intelligence because of the brain disease. And you see, it's the same. It has been characterized by the problems with cortical functions like thinking, memory, comprehension, orientation, but main things which are broken, it's memory and thinking. So thinking don't work properly. Memory is also failures. In Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, people losing their memories. And people become incapable to solve the problem which they were easily solved, and then they hadn't any disease like Alzheimer or problems with the vessels in the central nervous system, atherosclerosis, hypertension. So all these diseases can lead to the chronic constant damage of the neurons. So a lot of neurons are dying, especially highly developed neurons are dying, and that's why people lose their high nervous function of the central nervous system. So the difference between two of them, most of all, learning disability is not worsening during the time. It can even be improved by the stimulation, special programs, etc. So intelligence even can become higher in learning disability. In dementia, we always can see a constant, maybe due to the treatment, maybe retarded, slower, but constant lowering of the level of intelligence. People losing their ability, well, not day by day, but with the time. As you see, that's because of the chronic disease of the brain. That's why dementia is developing. But learning disability is stable and even can be improved with the age, with the proper activation of the persons. Okay. Next, disorders of stream of thoughts. Disorders of tempo, that's just a classification. Circumstantiality, continuity, well, let's move one by one. Disorders of tempo. Here we have flight of ideas, you see. So idea fly, not just move in the brain, just one by one. Very rapid, very fast. So the person is not concentrated. He jumped from one idea to another idea. That's it. Then it can be in a manic patient. As you see, in manic patients, they have an increased speed of thinking. They have increased mood, increased energy, increased tempo of everything, including motor activity. And that's why flight of ideas in this patient is very obvious, because they start their story from one idea, then they jump to another, and in the end, if and is possible over here, they talk to you for a third topic, for fourth, fifth topic, and you cannot follow them, their idea. So they in a too rushy, then in a complete rush of their intellectual activity. Another types of flight of ideas where it can be possible in an anxiety. Then you're anxious, then you want to tell a lot of things and you worry that you will miss something. The result usually is quite opposite. You try to give all the ideas, all the interesting topic details for the paper, but you too hurry. And the result is that a lot of ideas are missed, or they just evaporates, or you told about them so fast and with no stress or with no particular explanation. So a lot of things are missing in the result. It's a flight of ideas. Next is inhibition of slowing of thinking. As you see, the tempo is slower, very low, one by one, and really difficult to elicit ideas, or in terms of communications, it's very difficult to talk with this person because you have to wait for the answer. You have to wait for his initiative. How are you? And he will tell you not so well, as for example, if it's a patient with the depression. And then you wait until he will explain why not so well, but he even cannot start to talk, to describe why not so well, because he has no energy. He is too slow. His thinking is suppressed. Now, next block is disorders of continuity of thinking. I put you circumstantiality. Circumstantiality, the key word is circumstances. Circumstances, circumstances means a person, then he tried to give you a story. He is been sunk into the, he is diving, he is, I don't know, swimming into the details. So that we can find in a person with epilepsy, learning disability, or obsessional personality trait. Epilepsy, learning disability, that's, I hope you know what is that. Obsessional personality traits, it's a people who prone to the perfectionism. Perfectionism means they require from themselves to be perfect. perfect in everything. If it's a patient, he have to give you all the necessary information, all the details. He will be slow. He will be telling you all that you usually don't need, and you didn't ask about them. You didn't ask, but he will give you all the details. Like if you ask a lady, she takes drugs for the epilepsy, what kind of drugs do you take? This answer should be simple, yes? I take it levodopa. I take levodopa right now. But she can start, you know, doctor, I start to treat my epilepsy with carbamazepine 5 years ago, and initially it worked well, but 3 years ago there was one doctor. Her name is her office is in the center of the town. She is a doctor of medicine. She's a professor. She proposed me to take a valproate acid, but I didn't take it that time. So you got all the details. That's a circumstantiality. You will meet these people. Perseveration. It's a differ from circumstantiality. Perseveration means these people. I hope that it will be in the next slide. Perseveration occur, then people tell you one and the same usually words. They repeat almost the same words combination. Persist. The repetition is beyond the point, as over here. So in the example, you see that you ask, what is your name? Where are you from? Like, for example, I'm from India. And then you ask them, so what are your complaints? And the answer will be the same. I'm from India. I came here a few years ago. Okay, I don't understand it. So can you tell me what disturbs you? And the answer will be strange. I'm from India. These kinds of disorders are common, not common, can be found in organic disorders of the brain. Sometimes in schizophrenia. But that is why in organic, and maybe it will help you to forget it, to remember it's a bit longer. People with great or generalized organic disorders, so damage in the brain, they have lack of resources. They have enough energy to answer for your first question. And then they cannot switch to another topic. They have no energy, and they continue their thinking process at the same time. So maybe that can help you to remember the perseveration. Another, thought blocking. Here, they not fast, thoughts, not rapid, not slow, they just disappear. In German origin, it calls Sperrung. This word should be pronounced like Sperrung. Sudden arrest of the thoughts. So leaving a person's head blank. So you see that he speaks and instantly he stops to speak for a few seconds, for a few minutes, and then he starts from something else, usually. So looks like he lost all the thoughts. And he did think like that. Here, you can see one thing. It's really suggestive for the schizophrenia, but below I put you some notes about you, because sometimes students feel that they have a thought blocking. Sometimes students experience that they they don't have anything, that their head, their brain is empty. That can happen. Then you're too tired. Yes, then you're really tired, exhausted, or then you're anxious. The difference between schizophrenic Sperrung is that, first of all, a person with schizophrenia is experienced Sperrung, and at the moment that he experienced Sperrung, he actually think about how is it awful not to have any thoughts in my brain, or he can explain you his condition like somebody from outside had blocked his thoughts. He did it by using some equipment, some waves, or anything, so that was made violently. In students, it's because they tired or they anxious. That's the difference. So don't search for the symptoms of schizophrenia in yourself. And let's move. Obsession, compulsion, and disorders of thoughts. Let's read that, and then we will make a small pause. Obsession and compulsions. What is that? First, obsession, the definition of obsession. And I put you here the main features of the obsession. First, here, obsession. It's an image or desire first that dominates at individual thinking or in the individual mind. Dominates. Only one, usually. Well, only that people can see. And the people awareness, so that it dominates, it exists, despite people know that it is entirely without purpose or useless. There is no usefulness in these thoughts. So it dominates and it's useless, and person do aware about it. Yes, he recognized it like this. And the last one, that the patient tries to get rid of the obsession. He don't want it. He tried to fight with that, and he do understand, the person do understand that obsession is not being nested from outside. What it means nested? That means that it his own thoughts, words, images, desires, and he hates himself for them. Sometimes in symptoms of obsession, of disorders of I'll try to reduce the number of blinks in the screen. Sometimes in schizophrenia, some symptoms remind the obsessions, but actually it's not an obsession, it's a symptoms of alienation of thoughts. Somebody think that other people, for example, Witcher, or a very powerful magician, or CIA, had inserted, or put into the head of the patient some ideas or thoughts, and he cannot do anything with that. That are another symptoms. That's not an obsession. So that's an example of obsessions. The content of obsessions, very often in here we can say about the pathology, they cause anxiety, suffer, anger, self-hatred, so shame. So people react for this obsession emotionally, mostly, and they suffer from that. If you have any obsessions, it's normal. No problem, you can have it. No problem, you can sing some stupid song, or you can do anything. You can have, I don't know, some ideas in your hand, and then they can wander in your mind as much as they wish. But if it makes you suffer, if you try to fight, if it lead you to do some compulsions, this case is a problem. This is a pathology. For example, prudish person, have sexual things, or a person who is too religious can suffer from constant thinking. For example, what if I say, what if I make some blasphemous things? What if I say something dirty about God? Or what if I could have some dirty fantasies? Wow. And a person starts to fight with them and spend a lot of time, plenty of time, in order to fix it. Compulsions. These are motor acts, actually. Obsessional motor acts. And what is important, they lead to reduce fear. They lead to reduce attention. That's why obsessions are mutually, genetically connected with compulsions. For example, COVID-19 obsessions. Maybe on the way here, I touched, well, some surfaces in Marshutka. Then I have a thought, my thought. What if COVID is there? I know, I washed my hands. No. But what if you didn't wash all the viruses from your hand? I do understand. Let's get back. So I do understand for the definition. Wait a second. Here, the definition of compulsion. And then I start to afraid of it. Yes, I have a COVID on my hands. And despite I aware that I washed my hands, that it's useless for me. Here, that is useless. How to make it turn on? Here, that is useless for me. And I'm aware that I don't need it. There is no purpose for me to think about that. I try to, no, I washed my hands, that's okay. But it goes back again to me, and I try to get rid of it, nothing works. And what happens? The fear, the anxiety that I have a COVID is growing up. What I have to do? I have to perform a compulsion in order to reduce the anxiety. And the circle is closed. Next time, then I have just thoughts. I will be prone to go to make a compulsion. Again, in order to reduce my anxiety, fear, and tension. So, thoughts alienation, that we will continue from that. Now, we will have a small break for 5 or 3 minutes. Thoughts, now we talk about the part which is about disorders of possession of thoughts, of thought. Here, thought, we got one case, thought alienation. My thoughts are alien, not mine. If a patient declare like this, that means, yes, he got a problems with the possession of his thoughts. Person usually report that he has a problems with the control of his thoughts, that somebody else control his thoughts, or he cannot control his thoughts. They just appear, they just go, they just moving by their own, so he cannot control them. In the obsessions, one more time, a person experience their thoughts or images or anything as their own product. Here, in thoughts alienation, a patient somehow think that it not his productions. So thought alienations, as you think, is commonly in schizophrenia. And now, what type of them? How does it look like? 3 types. Just as an example, People think that somebody insert thoughts into his head. Somebody. It can be a person, can be organization, can be powerful. Usually it's a powerful organization, or maybe a relative, mother. So that's not my thoughts, not my desires. Somebody make me to do this. Sometimes very awful, but usually something not so dangerous, not so important, not so meaningful, but he think, no, that's not me. It's somebody, somebody make me to feel that I need to stand up, and he stands up. Somebody make me to say this, not me, somebody else. So somebody control me from outside. Thought deprivation, somebody is stealing my thoughts. Somebody is frozen make my thought like a frozen. Somebody make my thought to disappear, to be blocked. Sperren is one of the cases of these thought alienation. We talked about a bit before, thought blocking. Or thought broadcasting. Everybody can hear my thoughts. Everybody can read my thoughts, and it looks like I'm psychologically naked. Everything which inside of me, other people can hear, and a person look at the other people and he see that they react. They know the truth. They smiling. They hide their reaction, and he say that he observe that, and he suffer from that. Really, actually, awful condition. And now move to the content of thinking. It's okay with the thinking. Nobody inserts. Nobody. There is no obsessions. There's no circulation or something like that. And the person do not suffer usually from them. He don't fight from that. And we have here delusions. Three types of the delusions, two types of the delusions, and one is overvalued idea. A very important topic. And oh, sorry, wrong button. I pressed. Here. Delusions. Delusions, the definition. Delusions is a false, unshakable belief, and I would like to press it, beliefs, that which are, I mean, these beliefs are out of social and cultural background. Oh, Mina, thank you, but I don't think that was necessary to do from you. Next time I will need a help, I ask you. I find and ask Mina to do this. So, unshakable, stable belief. I believe in something. Something which is not true, which is out of the, is not connected with the reality, and which is not because of my cultural impact. I'm sorry for a second. So, disorders of content of, wait a second, sorry. For example, a person believes in something which really is not a reality at all. Like I'm a son of the king, like I am, yes, I'm a prince, and okay, I have to explain why am I here in Kyrgyzstan, why am I not in my kingdom or somewhere else. Okay, so, and it's impossible, one of the most important things, it's impossible to persuade a person to change his mind, despite you have a real obvious proofs that this is wrong, no, or a person believes, we will move to the further examples. Here we have primary delusions. It's a primary delusions. It's a disease. They are separate. They independent. They are the main symptoms of the disorder in these persons. These primary delusions. Sorry for a moment. First of all, they develop, they grow in, they have to become mature in the brain of the person. Initially, person experiences so-called delusional mood. Delusional mood, it's then he feels that something wrong. Something has been changed. I just don't understand right now what is that. People are behave themselves in a different manner. They do something which they didn't before. I see that, I feel that, but what is that? I don't know. Secondary is a delusional perception. Delusional perception means that a person begins to understand new facts, new meanings. Oh, it's a strange things. I enter in the room and they start to talk about. Start to talk. I turn to them and they become quiet. Then I gets back. They again continue to talk about that. So this is a delusional perception. They see that something is wrong. They see exact object, exact thing. And sudden delusional idea, it's like your eureka, instant insight. Wow, now I understand. Now I understand why are they talking, why they start to talk. Then they can see me, but then I go close to them. They stop to talking. They're talking about me. They talk rumors about me. They plan something bad about me. So delusional symptoms, as you see, it's symptoms of delusional disorder and of the schizophrenia, both of them. Secondary delusions arising from, as you see, morbid, some other morbid experience. For example, if a person in severe depression, he's sad, then he is very sad. He can start to develop the ideas which is coordinates, which goes from his depression, from his sadness. So no future for me, no future for all this world. This world is dying. After a few days, there will be a great catastrophe, apocalypse, something like everybody will die very soon. So, and they believe in that, and they save themselves. And actually, how do they save themselves? They actually save themselves from the further suffering. It can be a suicide, because they believe that it will be an apocalypse. The world will die after a few weeks. Why should I wait for this burning, for this fire from the hell? No, I don't need that. I will commit a suicide. So that's a second delusion. Or a person can hear hallucinations from the devil, for example, and devil can tell them, you know, you are, you know, worth, you don't belong to this world anymore. I will take you from here, or you the messenger of the God, and they believe in that, and they tell for the others that what their hallucinations tell them. It's a secondary delusions. The content of delusions, that's important part. You see the main type of delusions, and let's go from one to another. Delusions of persecution. What is that? A person believes that somebody is spying on him, that somebody planned to do something against them. Spying, slander. Some patients think that, well, for example, you work as the doctor and one of your colleagues start to think that you intentionally want to break their career. And for example, they left home, but you stay with the colleagues at home, and only one reason why you stay with the colleagues at home. That's not your, not to complete some task, maybe something left for you to do for the patient. No, he believes that it's just a cover. It's just an excuse for you to stay. Actually, you stay to develop a joint plan, how to spoil their life. So these people, very, very suspicious. Delusion of infidelity, actually, it's a subtype. Delusion of persecution, it's again about the lack, pathological lack of trust. So person believe that the spouse is infidelity to him, that there are some sexual affairs with third person, with another man or woman. And they declare that despite the absolute absence of any reasons. Sometimes it's very difficult to prove that you affair with your spouse, but sometimes it's absolutely impossible. But one of the spouses believes that this is true. So delusions of infidelity. Next is, delusion of love, also called erotical delusions. A person believes that somebody else loves him. Usually it's some of the celebrity. He loves me or she loves me. If you ask, so why? Why I cannot see you together? Why he don't contact me except plus why this celebrity do not declare? That's because it's not a proper time for him to discover the truth. For example, Putin loves me. Okay, why don't he send somebody via a train or anything over here to take you to live with him? It's not a time. His enemies can break all his plans, so he have to keep his passion to me in a secret. Grandiose delusions, I'm a god, I'm a queen, I'm a Shiva, I'm everybody, anyone, so I'm a god, I'm a prophet. A person believes in that and he behaves like a prophet. Delusion of ill health. Some surgeon, be prepared. You will meet a patient who will require from you to make a surgery because they have something wrong with their stomach. And they feel that, they're absolutely sure about that, they have a cancer. You can check. You see nothing, no test, nothing, nothing, no symptoms. Or some slight symptoms like gastritis. But they require to make a surgery because they're absolutely sure they have a cancer. Delusion of guilt, that's very common in the depressed person. A person who depressed, he believes that he ruined his life, their family. Sometimes a person believes that I ruined all the happiness from our country. That's my fault. That was a COVID chaos in our country. Nobody was prepared. My fault because I was. The explanation can be very strange because I have to stand up. I have to go to my president. I have to talk. I have to organize a party before that in order to give warning for our government. That's unrealistic, absolutely not proven ideas of guilt. Nihilistic delusions, subtypes of delusion, the depressional delusions that everybody die. I am dying. I am rotten. I'm a corpse, and everybody also a corpse. That's just a few last movements they do, but we all died. World is died. World is rotten. World is on the edge, actually. And delusion of poverty, that's in old people usually. They believe that they will be poor. For example, old lady thinks that very soon she will be on the street, despite her children support her, despite it's okay with her children, and children try to persuade her, Mom, look, it's okay. See, we're healthy, we work, we have job, we have savings, but nothing works with this lady. That's a poetry. Actually, it's also one of the symptoms of a depression. Overvalued idea, you know, the name. Look at the name. Overvalued idea. I cannot move. Overvalued idea. Overvalue an idea. It's a thought that precedes all over other ideas. So it's a permanent thoughts or belief that exists for a long period of time. That what usually in the literature they call to be obsessed with. It's not an obsession, but in literature it's an obsession. I obsess it with, a person is obsessed with something. So they not so fix it as the delusions, see, and at some degree they are in a, they can be proved in see, have some degree of basis in the reality. So there are a number of proofs, yes, number of supporting facts for this idea, but there is a possibility to reverse them, to convince them in something else. Again, if we get back to the jealousy, yes, some of your friends, some of your boyfriend, girlfriend, I don't know who is close, maybe you, sometimes you jealous. Your girl is in the evening, she don't come for the contact and you jealous. By the end of the evening, you absolutely believe, you completely emotional, you believe that she is with somebody else. You believe in that. She's coming and you just give her a blast of emotions, of argument. I don't know if you have clashes or something like that, but she can give you proofs, and that's have to be solid proofs. And if you do this, and if you change your mind, if she was capable to convince you that it's in something else, that means overvalued idea. Normal overvalued idea, not pathological idea. For example, I want to become a surgeon. I want to become a cardiologist. And that's it. Well, let somebody try to change your opinion. No. Because that's for you, it's a treasure. It's your dream. And you're a doctor, you want to become a doctor, you learn, you study, you plan. You got the basis in the reality for these kind of ideas. Yes, but that's an overvalued idea. A healthy, but an overvalued idea. Now what we have, we still have some time. Now most difficult part, disorders of the form of thinking, of so-called formal thought disorder. From the beginning, all of these symptoms are about schizophrenia. So form of thinking. It's a disorder of manner of thinking. It's the disorder of that how you, not supply, how a person do this. Actually, this is very, pathognomic special symptoms for the schizophrenia. And in schizophrenia, the process of thinking is defined. It's something which you cannot understand because you almost never experience it, something like that. Maybe a bit small part, but disorders of form of thinking, that's very difficult to imitate, for example, to pretend that you have a disorder of thinking. And now we have transitory thinking. See, the main word over here is a derailment, substitutions and omissions, but mostly it's a derailment. A person has no mania, has no hyper activation. He start one sentence, one idea, then suddenly, absolutely suddenly, he talked about another topic, and you look a bit shocked. How is that? And then about something else. This is a transitory thing. So transit means I'm here, then this idea, but that's not fast. But person who you talk to, person with schizophrenia, for example, and you examining him, a person think that it's okay. He is not surprised. That's not a problem for him. For him, it's a normal way of thinking, and you have to understand it. He expects that you will understand it. Like, I'll try to give an example. Well, today is not usually warm outside. And the water usually liquid, and that's it in essence of it, especially because the car really likes to jump to the water with butterfly. What was that about? You don't understand. Actually, I used three topics, three direction, and I move them. I shift from one to another. There was no shift for me. It was shift for you. Transits, station. You don't understand that, and that's a transitory thinking. Dribbling thinking. And here we have mess. That's what we can tell you. It's a mess. Then a person with a lot of thoughts, he cannot give you a direct any direction. He just mess them all together. We call it dribbling thinking, or sometimes they call it thought salad. Everything is added, everything, and you cannot elicit something meaningful from that. Desultory thinking. And you see, in desultory thinking, speech is grammatically correct, but sudden ideas go from time after time. So it looks like he talked to you, and he talked to you about some topic, but in one moment, he can speak about something else instantly. For him, there is no surprise. But for you, it's a real surprise. Neologism, it's a new words. New words, actually new words which a patient invent by himself, and the meaning of these words only known for him. He can change ordinary words into something new, like nosolipia. What is that? Nosolipia. And that's about the inability of sugar to become a clue, or something else, or I don't know, very difficult to simulate it, but dyshemia. What's that? That's about how people attitude, about the people's attitude to me. I would like to use one word to explain how hostile they to me. Usually people hostile, but they hostile in this. So they invent only known for themselves new names. Speech confusions and schizophrenia. People speak, and you don't understand them, but they still can do their plans, can fulfill their plans. Mutism, people don't speak, they mute, they lose in speech. And they don't speak to you, they don't want to. It looks like you talk to them, they forget how to do this. And talking past the point. You ask one question, he answer, looks like he's talking about another things. In example, you see, what color of the grass is white? and then you can ask what is your name. He can tell you that the weather is fine over there. Then you can ask him, why don't you ask and at my question, he can answer you that, yes, thank you, I have a good breakfast today. Something like that. This last position is not only about schizophrenia, that can be also about so-called conversional disorder or dissociative disorder. That person is really scared or frightened. In this case, he can behave like that. So that's, I think, it for today.